क्या आप आईएएस की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स को 2.5 लाख तक की फीस नहीं पे करना चाहते? अगर हाँ, तो 22,500 रुपए में घर बैठ के StudyIQ के पेनड्राइव कोर्स के साथ आप आईएएस की तैयारी कर सकते हैं। आज ही विजिट करें StudyIQ.com.
Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Let's have a positive start with Paulo Coelho. When we want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. This sentence you will find in his world-famous novel called The Alchemist. I don't know what it is, whether it is a law of attraction, whether it is an act of God, we don't know. But one thing is for sure, that this is something that is true as well. I'm sure many of us have experienced this thing, that when we want something, when we are ready to give everything that we have or we can to get that thing, then the whole universe, the surrounding world will start supporting us. And it's not just something that I have experienced or just a couple of us has experienced. If you go through the book Wings of Fire, written by APJ Abdul Kalam, his biography basically, you will find that he has talked about something sort of similar experience that he has shared in this Wings of Fire. With this, dear friends, the first item that we have, one of the most important article, is about challenges at BIMSTEC. Now, what BIMSTEC is all about? BIMSTEC is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation. A meeting is going to take place, a summit is going to take place in Kathmandu, and for this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to Nepal this week. Now, let me take you through BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC initiatives, you have you have Bangladesh, you have Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. This 7 countries are part of this BIMSTEC initiatives. Out of this, you have Bhutan and Nepal. These 2 countries are not sharing its border with Bay of Bengal. Apart from that, other countries are sharing its border with Bay of Bengal. And you can see here that Bhutan and Nepal are landlocked nations. The other thing I would like to say here is that if you go through SAARC nations, and let me give you the full form of SAARC as well if you are new with this discussion, then SAARC stands for South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. In this SAARC nation, this is the logo of SAARC, and you have 8 countries here. Now I will leave it on you guys to go through it, but what I am trying to highlight here is that SAARC and BIMSTEC, and then you have one group called ASEAN Group. So BIMSTEC is a group in which 5 countries are coming from the SAARC nations, and you have 2 countries, that is Thailand and Myanmar, are not part of SAARC, but they are part of ASEAN nations. So BIMSTEC can work as a bridge between ASEAN and SAARC. Keep this thing in mind, and this is one of the main reasons why BIMSTEC is very important initiative. Now, we're coming back to this BIMSTEC and India's role. Back in 2016, when BIMSTEC summit took place here in our country, we roped in BRICS nations as well. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, then of course India, China and South Africa. All these 5 countries, BRICS nations, are emerging economies. Situation of these economies are not all of them are on the same page. There was a time when all these countries were doing very well. At present, you see slowdown in this South Africa and Brazil for various different political reasons. But as far as India, China and Russia is concerned, then they are doing pretty well. As far as India is concerned, it is doing extremely well. Right, we are the fastest growing major economy in the world at present. So it was India that roped in this BRICS nation or BRICS summit, or this BRICS group, not summit but BRICS group, with this BIMSTEC outreach summit. So it was it took place back in 2016. So this indicates that we are ready for supporting this BRICS as well as this BIMSTEC as well as this SAARC. When we talk about SAARC nation, we have done many things about SAARC group, but the thing is, SAARC is all bark and no bite sort of group. It has it's been there for a very long period of time now. You have countries like Afghanistan and Pakistan and India, and we have talked about this thing earlier on as well. The potential of this region, that is South Asian region is huge. We have cultural proximity. Food taste is more likely same. There are so many things that we can import, and there are so many things that we can export with each other. But because two big players, when we talk about SAARC, we have two big players. The biggest one is of course India, and the second one is Pakistan. And because this arch rivalry that is going on between these two countries, this whole SAARC nation is, or this whole SAARC group is not performing very well, or it's not performing at all, if I can say this thing. Back in 2016 we saw this Uri attack, and because of this thing this meeting was cancelled. Now recently this new Prime Minister Imran Khan has said that he's ready to host this next SAARC meeting. But the thing is, back in 2014 India proposed this SAARC motor vehicles agreement. This could have provided connectivity between all these different SAARC nations. Now you'd argue that what about Sri Lanka and Maldives? They are island nations, so of course we can have ro-ro ferries to get this connectivity. But connectivity here means if you are from Afghanistan, you can travel all the way, crossing Pakistan, you can come here to India, take your car or truck, and then you can take it back as well. So this is what connectivity is all about, this SAARC motor vehicles agreement. But Pakistan resisted this thing, and the whole idea failed. India tried, but India failed in this thing, and later on we went ahead with this BBIN, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal, and we signed this thing in 2015. If I give you current update about this thing, then Bhutan is for time being out of it. Bhutan has said that because of environmental concerns and some internal you can say lack of consensus on this BBIN, means Bhutan is a country that is, to be honest, I would not use the word obsessed, but I would say it's a role model country when it comes to environment protection. So over there people will choose environment over economic development, as far as I know. And that's what has happened with this thing as well, that they have decided that they will step out of BBIN. So at present we have just BIN, that is Bangladesh, India and Nepal. Right, dear friends, so map work is done, basic items I have told you. Now I'll add one more thing about Pakistan, and then we will move ahead. So the thing is, last year, or was it in 2016, right at the end of 2016, if I'm not wrong, we launched this SAARC satellite. Earlier on it was known as SAARC satellite because it was going to provide this facilities benefits for the whole SAARC region. But Pakistan again said a big no for it, or to it, and because of this thing we changed the name of this satellite, and it is known now as South Asia satellite. It is providing facilities to other SAARC nations apart from Pakistan. So this was a second, you can say, sort of incident where Pakistan created a bit of you can say hurdle for this integration. Anyways, now there is a big question out there, right? The people are asking this question. There are some quarters who are saying that India is supporting or more interested in BIMSTEC so that it can isolate Pakistan. Is it a right thing? Not at all, because if we judge by this stand here taken by India of this SAARC motor vehicle and this SAARC satellite, then we can safely say that India has tried its level best to promote a regional integration in this region. And the other thing is that we are not interested in, our motivation to push BIMSTEC is not based on isolating Pakistan. It is more about our own country's interest. We know the potential of this region. We know how much this integration can help all of us. And as I have said earlier on as well, this region here, right, it has this huge potential. You take here Afghanistan, Pakistan and all these countries, and we can have a sort of a mini Europe over here, not in terms of environment, but more in terms of economic development and integration. You can travel anywhere you like without visa. We can have this thing, something similar to Schengen agreement that they have in Europe. And if we have this thing, then people as well as goods and services can flow seamlessly between each other countries, and the more people to people contact we will have with each other, even terrorism and other things will come down, or it will become a sort of thing of the past. We can achieve this thing. As far as India's contribution is concerned, India is supporting nearly 32% of expenses of the Secretariat of BIMSTEC is being looked after by our country. Now, there are again allegations that India is trying to dominate the small nations, and India is trying to bully other nations, and it's not that small nations are dovish. Even small nations, they gang up, and they have in the past ganged up against India, and this is not going to be beneficial for any one of us. So the best thing that we can do here is we can look after each other's interests. We should not interfere in each other's interest, and this is something that is easy to understand. And if we work together, then we can achieve many things. In fact, BIMSTEC as well, it needs that boost. It's a good thing, but again, I would say that it's not something that is performing extraordinary. We have this small port agreement as well, where you can use tiny boats and you can supply things or with each other using this Bay of Bengal waterways. So this is something that you have this environmental advantage or geographical advantage. We should make the most out of it. And as far as navigating this whole BIMSTEC is concerned, then Dragon, that is China, is observer member of SAARC, and there are a few countries out there. They are lobbying for giving full membership of SAARC to China, and there are talks going on that China should be part of BIMSTEC as well. Now we have to be a bit careful here, and it's not dominance, but it's more about showing smaller countries pros and cons of China entering into these groups. But again, it's not going to happen in near future. It will take the longest time. With this difference, before moving ahead, I would like to inform all of you that our pen drive and tablet courses are available for various different exams. To find out more about it, check out StudyIQ.com. If you want to download the PDF of today's lecture, you will get it from my Facebook page and Twitter handle right after this lecture. And let's move on to second item, which is again the most important item, written by Madhav Gadgil. Now Madhav Gadgil is Madhav Gadgil, that's the right pronunciation of the surname of Mr. This environmental expert. And we have talked about Madhav Gadgil committee, remember, a couple of days ago. So this article is written by this expert himself, and the reason why it becomes a very important article is because climate change is going on. We have seen these floods and fury, and there are high chances that you may find a question in your mains examination. So what are the reasons behind this sort of catastrophic situations that we are seeing nowadays in our country? And he is talking about the situation that is going on in Kerala. Now, of course, as far as quantitative loss is concerned, or material, more visible and more easy to calculate things are concerned, then we have a figure in front of us that 26,000 crore rupees worth items are destroyed at present because of this Kerala floods. But what about natural, human and social capital? We cannot estimate it because it is something that has no relationship with quantity. It is more concerned with quality of life, quality of social, human as well as natural life surrounding us. And one of the main root cause, as per Madhav, is that one of the most important thing to keep in our mind is that we have rules and regulations in our country, right? We have most stringent possible rules in our country, but flouting of laws is something that is going on for a very long period of time, and this is taking place not just in items that are pertaining to nature. This is going on with items pertaining to everything, so in every different fields we find this thing. So this is one of the reasons why this natural capital, all this beauty of nature and mining and quarrying and other things, encroaching riverfronts and this river basin and other areas, building houses and converting this natural forest into artificial, or you can say commercial, non-agricultural land, and all these things are going on. There was a report from Shah Commission as well on Goa, and it has warned that if the things, this illegal mining that is rampant in Goa, if it is going on, and if it is not stopped, then situation of Goa will be worst as far as this environmental disasters are concerned. Now it takes ages and ages for us, to uplift people out of poverty, and when you have this sort of natural calamities, many people who are not falling under this category of poverty, they as well lose everything, and they have to start from scratch, which is the most difficult thing in life. You are thrown back, from 1 to 0. You become, if you are at 10, then you will fall down. It's just like snakes and ladder game. From 99 you fall down to 0. So degradation of human capital is something that is also quite visible. People are losing their livelihood opportunities as far as health is concerned. So much chemical in food, in water, in air, all these things, right, are taking place because of we are not following this floating of laws and lack of implementation of rules and regulation. We have so many good examples. When I say good, I mean to say so many examples that can illuminate us. You have Coca-Cola factory example that is overusing and polluting water resources, but it's still going on. We have so many scientists and scientific knowledge and advices that are coming from experts, but who has time to listen to all these advices? Serious erosion of social capital is something that is more visible nowadays. There was an activist. He was killed by people, right? He was basically, you can say, lynched by people because he was talking about something that was right, but there were few groups of vested interest. They motivated these people or brainwashed these people, and people started throwing stones to this person, and he died. He was, trying to create this awareness, but he died. So this indicates that social fabric as well has been destroyed because people are chasing, blindly after money. Is the most important thing nowadays for most of the people, not all of them, but most of them. And then they don't realize this thing, that it's not money, right? It's not how top you are, in which company, or how big you are. It's not that important. When you are climbing your first or second step, these are the things that will surrounding you. When you are preparing for, say for example, IAS or different exams, it would be that uniform. When you are talking about IPS, and it would be that that car written with the government of India and your bodyguards and other things that will motivate you. But later on, all these things will lose its charm, and then you will realize that these things are not, happiness is not associated with this sort of things. We must make sure that we keep a fine balance as far as this environment is concerned. I don't have to say much about it because I'm sure we know what to do, right? We need to look after our environment. There is one more article that we can club here with this suggestions, but here Mr. Madhav is talking about this 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments, and these amendments are basically about empowering local bodies, right? If we want to see any change, then this local bodies, may it be at your city level, may it be at your town level or village level, it should be people's decision, right? If a project is coming to your village, then it should be the people of your neighborhood or people of your village, right? They should decide whether that project should be given yes or no based on this cost benefit ratio analysis, based on this thing, based on this SWOT analysis: strength, opportunity, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. This is called SWOT. And this can be done by empowering or implementing this constitutional amendment in letter and spirit, because even today we find that mayors of our cities, they have no power at all. They are just like puppets of chief minister or the ruling party at state level. And we know it very well that in many places you have this chief ministers as well. The state government is a puppet of central government. So this is a thing. It's a very interesting, rest of the articles that we have gone through so far, it talks about green measures and that, all those items are right. But when you're writing your mains examination, if you add this thing, that 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment in letter and spirit should be implemented because of local bodies and empowerment or decentralization of decision whether a project should be given a green signal or not, should be decided by this biodiversity management committees, this thing, and then you add your green measures and other things, off you go. That's it, right? That will fetch you good marks. With this, another article that you can club with this one is this one: environmental assessment, how not to do an environmental assessment. It's a very strange thing, very strange, that environmental impact assessment, that is EIA, it's a very critical component when it comes to decision making in our country as far as this environment is concerned. What this EIA will do is that it will present, it will have all these environmental things in it, whether, like, say for example, if you want to take permission for a particular project, and here in this case we have this Navroji Nagar project, and it's a bit a controversial project. It was in news because people are trying its level best, their level best, that they can save their trees, and this there are so many trees that these companies want to chop off. So when we talk about this EIA or any project, EIA will cover all this critical component, how much damage and what's going to be there in the project and all these things. But it's very funny as well as it's very sad too, that EIA report on this Navroji Nagar project, was a sort of plagiarized material. It was copied from copyrighted papers, web pages and other EIA reports. You find in this report it has got many copy-pasted items from a famous book as well. And this is the state of our environmental assessment. As you can see here, right, we talked about two items here. This one was by Madhav Gadgil on Kerala, and you see in other part of our nation we find something similar, that these reports are submitted to Environment Ministry, and Ministry is not doing anything about it. This report on this Navroji Nagar was supposed to provide an assessment on traffic. It's not there in the report. It has mixed up, or you can say it has purposefully, we don't know, but this World Trade Center that we want to set up here has been named as a commercial complex. This whole project is more about commercial side, and it is termed as residential site. A name of fish are given to a name of trees are given to name to these fishes, and you find that so this means I don't have to say it anymore, isn't it? You have got the idea that it's a report that should be chucked in the bin. But it's very sad that we find this type of reports submitted to Environmental Ministry, and Environmental Ministry takes decision on this type of reports. And it's not just one case. We have so many other cases as well in the past where we have found this type of reports. Now, Delhi High Court is going through the whole topic here, and let's hope, and I'm sure, right, that Delhi High Court will come across this findings of this latest EIA report, and based on this thing, I'm sure it is going to reject this you can say this dream of government to create a residential or maybe a commercial complex or commercial property or project here, or a town here that will be built by destroying so many trees and so many birds and the whole ecosystem. With this, dear friends, moving on to another item. It is about power play, easy to understand. A couple of days ago it was in news. I told you about this thing that RBI has been requested, or government has requested RBI to be a little bit lenient when it comes to this power sector companies. But RBI has said that it is going to stick with 180 days rule on defaults, and this is something that has been criticized by several bankers as well, that it should not be that harsh. Promoters are seeking support from government, and promoters basically means the owners of this electricity producing companies or energy producing companies. They are trying to seek get support from government. They have also knocked the doors of High Court, and High Court has said that this is something that they cannot allow, because if they allow this sort of breathing space to power sector, then tomorrow other sectors, they will demand the same thing, and this is something that you have to stick with rules and regulation. Now, as far as this performance of this power companies is concerned, then it is not something that has to do with them only. It's not that they are lazy or they are willful defaulters. It's not like that. Many a times we have seen fuel shortages because of inefficient and ineffective decisions taken by a few governments. I don't want to name any government. You have to find it out for yourself. Then you have state discoms, right? They are not being supported that much by state governments. Various state governments, they have their own way of working and things like that, and then you have delayed clearances. This will take ages for a company to get this clearance, and huge investment is required. And what happens is that eventually they will lose their investment, and they will have more interest to pay before they have generated any revenue. The money has started going out. So in this case, there are 70 firms, and out of that, nearly 34 firms, right, are troubled accounts, and they account for 54% of this total money. That is 54% of 3.8 lakh crore outstanding amount. That is 2.2 lakh crore. And this 54% of this 34 companies are this power sector. They belong from this power sector. So if they are not supported, if things are not sorted for them, then banks will fall down, and if banks go down, then the economy will go down, and eventually the government too. And that's everything as far as articles are concerned. This is about trade war marathon that is going on between China and USA. We have talked about this thing earlier on as well. Nothing new in this one. Then you have this shock arrests. Shock arrests. This one is talking about this crackdown on civil society, or this 5 activists. They are arrested by government at present, and Supreme Court has allowed rights activists to remain under house arrest. Now, there are so many things out there in the air, so it would be best for us to let this whole issue settle down, and within a couple of days we'll get the right picture of this thing. So at that point of time we will go through it. For now, just keep yourself updated with this issue. Over 99% of demonetized notes were returned, has been said by RBI. RBI has finally provided us this final figure. It has gone through all the notes, this 500 and 1000 rupees old notes that came back to the bank because of this demonetization. Central government staff to get 2% hike on this DNS allowance, and the DNS allowance again will increase the flow of money in the market, because more money in the hand of lakhs of people, and this can boost inflation. Don't spread dirt on social media, has been said by Prime Minister, and this is something that is applicable to all of us. We should not forward, we should not write things that will deteriorate the quality of our life, as well as if it is harming other people, then we should refrain from this sort of things. And it's not about it's not something to do with other people, it's something to do with your own personality building. Mr. Jaitley has said that UPA's delay in Rafale deal compromised national security. He has raised 15 questions. He has laid 15 questions in front of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and 2+2 talks are going to focus on China, and there is no guarantee of waiver for India from Russia sanctions, says a senior official. And here you can see that a committee has recommended that social media like platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp and YouTube should be held accountable for not blocking malicious posts. And I've compared this thing with what we have discussed last Sunday. These are 3 important financial news. The first one is that rupee is going down. It is at its lowest in the history, and you have digging deep. It is about 80-20 gold import scheme. Find out more about it in a special video lecture that is available on our YouTube channel. Right, I have delivered this lecture, and you will come across this 80-20 scheme. The reason why it is in news is because government is going to go through it, because it is believed that during this UPA rule, this scheme was diluted so that it can help Nirav Chokshi and Mehul Chokshi and Nirav Modi and other people. This data fact is about television and its geographical divide. So help yourself with this one, very easy to understand one, and these are your some vocabulary difference. I think I don't need to dictate this thing, because you guys don't find that much problem, or you don't find problem at all with English language. So these are few words, of course, right? Every day we learn something. If we read, then these are your few words. So go through it, try to form a sentence, and this is the thing, right? Yesterday's question, map-based question, the right answer is IN, that is International North-South Trade Corridor. And a city through which I have to go is Chabahar Port. That is very important city in this INSTC. With this difference, I have another question for you guys. Imagine that I am living here and I want to send some items to this place here, a big courier, big ship container here. So can you suggest me whether I should go over here, then come down and then hit here, or is there any shortcut, or shall I circumnavigate the whole world? It's going to be easier for me. What do you reckon? If there is any best, you can say, way to reach to this point, right, from point A to point B? And the answer of flag is right. It is Japan, and these are your answers. I have got two more questions for you guys, and I've got a flag question as well. Can you give me the name of the country? The flag that you can see on your screen. And with this, before I say goodbye to you, I would like you guys to check out StudyIQ.com and go through our pen drive and tablet courses. If you have any question or queries, feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Please just don't download this lecture or download the PDF of this file. Make sure you share it with other people as well. Thank you very much for your support, for your love. Enjoy your day. God bless you all. Jai Hind.